Alright guys, so today I'm going to be talking about the newest trend in acoustic guitars is to have a rubber bridge. Why do we want a rubber bridge? Because people are more interested in things that happened 100 years ago. And we want the sound of basically dead black musicians from 100 years ago because that's what's cool. Because nothing new is really cool, right? I'm one of these guys that thinks that basically everything after 1988 sucks, as far as like music. And there are very few things that I like after 1988. Maybe Fast Eddie Clark's It Ain't Over Till It's Over, which is a masterpiece, right? Things like that. Very few things, songs here and there, just to be fair, right? From, some 90s bands here and there that I think that as a songwriter, it's cool. Not that I like that stuff, but what's the motivation for this? Because we want to basically have a guitar to where the way it resonates, right? It doesn't resonate the cheap frequencies of the guitar. So basically, if you want a guitar that sounds really good, you're gonna have to pay a lot of money. So what a lot of people are doing today is that kind of a do-it-yourself, adding a piece of rubber right here, which I'll get to, so that it deadens the ringing of the guitar. So it sounds like basically blues musicians from 100 years ago couldn't afford strings. So their strings would sound basically kind of dead, right? And that's the sound we want, which seems counterintuitive, right? Because you have guitar string manufacturers that are going, towards like, nano-coated strings, because the oils in your fingers will make the strings dull, and they want to try to extend the life of the strings and all that stuff. But it's actually the opposite, right? We want the natural oils in our fingers that are very, very minute, that you can't really see, but to coat this so that the strings don't sound artificial, right? We want that earthy sound. We don't want something that sounds like, I told you before, I hate the sound of new strings because it sounds clanky and artificial, right? So we actually want strings that are worn in 3 or 4 months in, right? So I don't know what that's about, all the nano coating stuff. I've actually bought those strings, but I don't. It's just to me, it has to sound earthy and natural, and for that, you need this to be basically sound kind of dull, made dull with the oils in your fingers and things like that. That's kind of worn in over the time. And also now, what people are doing is that deadening the vibrations. So that's what I'm going to talk about. So you can actually buy acoustic guitars now with rubber bridges, or nobody has actually made a rubber saddle. Hopefully somebody will make it after watching this video. So what I had to do is I cut out a piece of rubber and I put it behind my saddle that's already existing. So this came with a plastic saddle, and I replaced it with a bone saddle, which is basically cattle bone. And the joke I like to make here is that even that has to be imported from China. Like, we don't have cows here, which is crazy to me, because if you ever, my parents used to own a house in Stockton. And like I said, my mom passed 8 years ago, and my dad, he just passed 3 months ago. But we used to go over there all the time, to their house from here. So you have to basically go up 5 all the way past Santa Clarita, and then that goes into the Santa Clarita Mountains and then dumps into Bakersfield, right? So between Bakersfield and Fresno, there's this area, what some people call Kauschwitz. So get it? Auschwitz, Kauschwitz, right? So there's like thousands of cows right there, and they basically slaughter them. I don't know if it's like a slaughterhouse or if it's for like milk. It's like a dairy farm. I don't know what it is. But anyway, even if you have the air circulate button in your car pressed, even if you have your windows rolled up, right, when you go through that part, you'll smell it. So it'll just get into your car because it's manure from like 1,000, cows, right? And you're stuck with that smell for like, you're stuck with that smell for like the next probably 100 miles. So anyway, that's the joke I like to make, is even though we have Kauschwitz there, this still has to be imported from China, which I don't understand. So anyway, this is cattle bone. So the reason why you would want bone is because it resonates differently than plastic, right? So what I've done is, so that gives you a different sound. And then what I've done is I bought this rubber sheet from Amazon, used a box cutter, kind of cut it just like a saddle and put it behind it. Because if you put it by itself, like I said, this is what people need to work on is just produce a rubber saddle for $5, right? I checked, there doesn't seem to be any out there. So if you put that, because rubber is soft, right? So it's not going to basically do anything. It's going to deaden the vibration so much that it's not going to support it. It's just going to start, collapsing because rubber is soft. So you need something hard right here. So I have the bone and then rubber. So I have a little piece of rubber right here, if you can see it. It's right underneath the bone saddle, right? So that deadens the vibrations and then gives it the sound. Does it sound better? I think so. Because cheap guitars, what happens is that the reason it doesn't sound good is because for acoustic, it's because that certain kind of plasticky kind of frequencies go through, kind of parasitic, right? And it doesn't sound good. So what we're doing here is you're basically turning a cheap guitar into an expensive, sounding guitar. So if you want to make it sound, a little bit more expensive by having controlled vibrations, right? Just put a piece of rubber there, or you can buy a rubber bridge. Like I said, nobody's made a rubber, nut saddle here, which would be cool. I guess they call this right here, the top nut, which I could change this, but I don't want to do this because this is glued on there and it'll be messy. I'd have to take it out. I'll probably scratch the guitar, and then you have to glue it back on. So this is easy because this just comes out. So this saddle, and then this is called a nut, right? These things right here, the nut on the saddle are made of like bone in better guitars. So at least you can replace this because the string touches this and then it vibrates it. You put a piece of rubber behind it, it deadens it. That's what we want. So it's still, like I said, it still rings out, but it doesn't ring out as much. It cuts the kind of the annoying high frequency shit that sounds like crap, right? So why do you want strings that sound dead? Because that's what's cool. Like I said, we want to sound like dead, black musicians from 100 years ago because that's what's cool. What is cool right now? Nothing is cool that's happening right now, I think. There are some things, some movies that are cool that come out, but, for the majority of it, anything that's like super produced, signed to a label, Hollywood made, like all this stuff is catered towards an audience and it's not authentic, right? None of it's really authentic. So if you want that authentic sound, right, this is it. This gives you that kind of swampy sound. I'm always searching for that acoustic guitar, that makes it sound swampy, right? I'm always searching for that acoustic guitar that sounds swampy, but doesn't cost $10,000. So anyway, try this. You can buy this at Amazon for like $6, and then you're only going to use one little portion of it. And then just stick it right behind that saddle right there, and then it will deaden the vibrations and make it sound a little bit more kind of bluesy. So this is for those type of musicians, not anything modern. I'll talk to you later.